I do not have a name, but you may know me as Big Brother. I don't think I need a detailed introduction after Edward Snowden's expose, but do hear me out. In my defense, I was following orders. Orders laid down by powerful men. Governments. To fulfill national interests, whatever they may be. NSA Director, General Keith Alexander said, it is in the nation's best interest to put all the phone records into a lockbox that they can search when the nation needs it. U.S. President Obama said this.
You can't have 100% security and also then have 100% privacy and zero inconvenience.
I'm not watching you. I'm protecting you. I love science. Why? It made my job so much easier, as technology is all-pervasive and easily taken up by the masses. Just look at my resume. My current services and expertise include cell phone and online information tracking to monitor your activities. All this data can be stored in one big gigantic server of individual dossiers of everyone we have tracked before, basically, anyone suspicious we find who leaves a data footprint. Now we even have the power to employ data mining, the solicitation of metadata, from big organizations that have a record of your information. With technology comes power, but I don't think I abuse it. I need it to protect the state, your security, our lives. While I was named by George Orwell in his novel 1984, my life began with the founding of the National Security Agency in 1952 during the Cold War era. 9/11 was a game change. Terrorism scarred the American zeitgeist. George W. Bush signed the Patriot Act into law in March of 2006, widening and increasing the ease of surveillance. People rejoiced, even when it conflicts the Fourth Amendment. I was given more power than ever. Proactive surveillance to prevent terrorism has now gained public acceptance. Things escalated after the Boston Marathon bombing. CCTVs were installed in public areas to increase street-level surveillance. I've always worked in the shadows, quietly stalking the physical and cybernetic world. No one questioned what I do. Until Edward Snowden.
The case of Edward Snowden visualized. Who is Edward Snowden? Edward Snowden is a 29-year-old technical geek who's been working at the National Security Agency for the last 4 years. He was living a very comfortable life with a salary of roughly $200,000, a girlfriend whom he shared a home with in Hawaii, a stable career, and a family he loves. What he did? Edward Snowden leaked National Security Agency documents regarding top-secret government surveillance programs like PRISM, which is spying on American citizens via phone calls and internet use. Perhaps most alarming, the data collected through PRISM was not limited to the NSA, but also shared with the FBI and CIA.
Technology is ubiquitous, and the powers that be empower me to use it to my advantage. You sign terms of service agreement for every piece of hardware and software you purchase. The fine print includes stipulations that legalizes my access to your information, just to make sure you are behaving. Snowden accused me of paying IT companies for your private data by revealing the existence of PRISM, a massive electronic data mining program that I helped the NSA run since 2007. Well, if I don't have your data, how do I protect you? Don't want me prodding my nose into your affairs? Sure, just avoid using products from Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Google, Yahoo, Skype, AOL, and many other major IT firms. Heck, don't use electronics at all. You think it's unlawful? Tell that to the FISA court, which approves 99.97% of requests for surveillance from agencies. Even small countries employ me. Singapore monitors internet traffic that routes through Southeast Asia, and uses that to barter for information with Five Eyes, a multinational intelligence community. Singapore has enacted laws like the Computer Misuse Amendment Act, CMA, the Electronic Transactions Act, and the National Computer Board Amendment Act, which allows me to access data and encrypted material and pass it on to the authorities.
I am an innocent victim of extensive government surveillance. The government is omniscient and omnipotent with the technology they possess and laws that empower them. If the status quo remains, you guys may be joining me in here soon. The gray area surrounding usage and obtaining of private data exists because of lack of legal restrictions on government surveillance. Google's transparency report mentioned that in 2012 the Singapore government requested user data on 185 occasions, with Google releasing some data around 3/4 of the time. National interests seem to justify any form of usage of such data. Discrimination arises when profiling is used as a search algorithm in the process of surveillance. I was a victim of racial profiling as authorities scrutinized my communications with family back home and travel records and arrested me for questioning. In racially diverse countries like metropolitan America and Singapore, this only deepens racial division and unfair portrayal of certain ethnicities. However, technology is not to be blamed. Governments misusing technology as a tool for surveillance is the root problem. The Patriot Act in the US or the Internal Security Act in Singapore grants governments the authority to invade our liberty in the arbitrary name of national interests. We should not condemn the technology that helps us, but we must draw the line to how it is utilized. Governments sanction the use of advanced technology to spy on those who elected them into office. Benjamin Franklin once said, "They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." I will end by raising some questions. How can a balance between security and privacy be achieved? Should the government be allowed such extensive power in controlling the technology of surveillance and data privacy? Are we conceding too much freedom, and are the measures taken by the government in the name of counterterrorism a step too far? Whatever the conclusion is, we cannot ignore the impact of influence of governments and authorities on the everyday technology we use today. Active and open-ended surveillance could be the slippery slope that leads us into the dystopian world of 1984 in the future.
Remember, Big Brother is watching you, listening in on your calls, inspecting your internet habits, and picking through your trash.